everybody, and welcome to the Swan Survival Server Infusion's Ramblings as we approach the ink sign in the sky. We're just out going over here to the jungle. We're going to find some trees to chop down that's away from people's builds. So we got to go a ways through the jungle and collect some jungle wood and stuff. Not because we really need it, but just because it'll give us something to do while we ramble on and talk about whatever topic we talk about. And that's the whole point of this series is we spend a few minutes and we just ramble on about some random topics and while we play Minecraft, right? And that's our goal. Looks like we got another build over there. I got to figure out where to go that there's no builds so I can chop down trees and not feel bad. I know, I'm a deforester. Anyways, so today's topic is going to be about something that we all love and enjoy, cartoons. In particular, what are your favorite cartoons from your childhood? And wow, there are a lot of cartoons to choose from. If you're like me, you grew up with classic cartoons, Bugs Bunny, Warner Brothers, oh my goodness, Wile E. Coyote, the man, my brain has just gone dead all of a sudden. Um, Daffy Duck and Porky Pig and all of them, but then at the same time you grew up with cartoons like He-Man and cartoons such as a little bit later, and this is I wasn't quite a kid, but things like Ren and Stimpy and uh, Mouse and the Brain and uh, man, there are so many. Tom and Jerry, of course, both the original and the new ones. And of course, then there's all the new animes that we could count out there as cartoons that exist today, although people would kill me if I called an anime a cartoon. But you get what I mean. Entertaining media in the form of cartoons and anime or animation, which is what a cartoon is. Um, what is your favorite? What was your favorite? What did you grow up with? And that's today's topics. I've always been a Warner Brothers fan with, Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Marvin the Martian, you name it. And there's some of them that I really, really liked more than others. I mean, I always loved Bugs Bunny, but I like Daffy Duck. And I like Daffy Duck better than Donald Duck, the Disney, Donald Duck, because Daffy, I just his thinking, his mentality just reminds me of myself sometimes. That's a little scary, but I love that. And then you have other cartoons that I really enjoyed too. From a Disney perspective, I always loved Chip and Dale, the two chipmunks, right? And a lot of people don't even know who Chip and Dale are from a cartoon Disney perspective, but they were these two little chipmunks. They either starred on their own a lot, or they starred with Donald Duck and caused him mischief all the time, and he caused them mischief. Um, but I really always enjoyed them as a cartoon. Very nice. And a lot of entertainment. But then also there's a lot of those old cartoons that were, people don't realize they were created and developed during times where people were struggling to understand what was going on, or they were scared, or things were happening in the world. World War II, for example. There were a ton of cartoons developed by Warner Brothers during World War II and shortly after World War II to educate everybody or to make fun of things that were happening in the war, or to up build up the uh, you know, the the personnel, the service personnel that were fighting. Um, there was a lot of that, And so when you watch a lot of those cartoons, you'll see a lot of references related to that that most youth today probably wouldn't understand. But anyways, those cartoons are definitely some of my favorites. Some others that go along with that, I mean, as far as characters, I always loved Marvin the Martian. Of course, his history was, really centered around making fun of, the Germans in World War II, the Nazis. That's really where he came about. But then there were others like Yosemite Sam, you know, darn tootin' rootin' tootin'. um, and then there were, things like Speedy Gonzales and the Road Runner, and you name it. You could just keep going and on and on and on. A lot of great um, cartoons were brought out by the Warner Brothers um, at that time or in those times. And then there were, other cartoons too that were just as good, that were not Disney or, the Warner Brother type of cartoon, um, but still were great series that, I enjoyed as a kid. And, of course, Scooby Doo, we could think about that, as being one of them. And, the original Scooby Doo is a lot different than what they have today as some of the more modern Scooby Doos. And, of course, now they've, made some movies out of it and, all kinds of things because it's fun. Um, and then, other ones, and my brain is not working appropriately. But let me see. Haji and um, why can I only remember Haji? Oh my goodness. Haji's one of the characters in another cartoon series. My brain has just gone dead, I could probably look it up. It was terrible. I have to look it up to remind myself because I haven't watched it in so long or seen it in so long. Whoops. That, of course, it helps if I push the right buttons. Okay, I thought I was standing on a leaf. I was going to try to bounce up and, so I wouldn't fall to my death while I'm looking this up. Oh, why can't I remember this? Let's see. Here he is. Yeah, Haji Singh. And yeah, man, how can I not remember this? Johnny Quest. Goodness gracious. That's the name of the cartoon, and it was Johnny and Haji, and they were always rescuing everybody along with, the little dog, um, and going on adventures. That was a great, great series. I always enjoyed it, because they were like, um, I guess, son and adopted son of, the scientists, and they were always trying to figure out mysteries, and, I mean, that was a popular theme back then, right? When you think about it. Um, but cartoons like that is what I grew up on, and mostly watching He-Man and of course, Johnny Quest, and then the Warner Brothers, and a little bit of Disney cartoons. Although the only time you got to watch those was usually on a Sunday morning because there would be a Disney special. And so you'd be able to watch those because there was no such thing as the Disney Channel or anything like that back then. Um, and so, we would enjoy those. And of course, others would be like Garfield and Odie. You'd watch them. Again, the original um, cartoons, not what we have today or what most kids are familiar with today. Um, a little bit of a delay in the going back there. Um, and I think, cartoons have changed a lot since then. Later on, of course, and this was, more into high school and stuff, and yeah, still watch cartoons. Series like the Powerpuff Girls and Dexter's Laboratory, and, all of those came out. And of course, Dexter's Laboratory was my favorite. um, the little redhead kid that was the scientific genius. Definitely not me. Yeah, I'm no scientific genius. Um, anyways, uh, and then of course, others started coming out after that. The Ren and Stimpys and all of the different cartoons we have even today. I really didn't get into anime and wasn't exposed to anime until I was an adult, and it was on the Sci-Fi Channel at the time, and they started having this various series uh, that they would bring in, and so that's kind of where I got exposed to anime early on. And of course, that was mostly American anime. It was very uh, you know, low key considering what anime really is and what the capabilities. But they would have the Dragon Ball Z, that they would showcase, as well as other series that started, becoming more and more popular at the time. And then, of course, that graduated, and today, I watch all kinds of different anime, and there's, some really good ones, both old and new. And of course, I discovered the Giggly films, which are iconic from an anime movie standpoint. And if you haven't seen any of those, I recommend watching like Princess Mononoke or Howl's Moving Castle, or, all of those. They are, great, um, movie series. One of my favorites, of course, is Princess Mononoke, followed by Nausicaa Valley of the Wind. Those are my two most favorites. But I like all of the others as well. And, you know, today we have a huge variety of shows that are available to watch. And it's probably impossible to watch them all because there are literally just that many. There are so many out there. It's impossible to keep up, especially when you also want to watch, non-cartoon shows. Whether it's series or documentaries and things like that. Then you're hopelessly doomed because there's no way you can watch them all. Um, but from favorites, I'll still go back and happily, usually on YouTube, watch, old Warner Brothers Bugs Bunnies, Daffy Duck, Speedy Gonzales, Yosemite Sam, Marvin the Martian, you name it, Porky Pig. Um, Happily go watch all of those. Just because they are completely different from today's cartoons, and it's not really that I relate to them more, um, but I definitely do. Seem to be getting some lag on. Oh, it's because of me. Look at that, 3,700 for my ping. It was 40 some 4,000. Geesh. It makes no sense. I upgraded my internet, right, so that I would have unlimited internet because the company kept throttling my internet after I reached 600 gigabytes of usage for the month. And so I decided, okay, well, let's go to unlimited. And that took us from, also increasing the speed at the same time. It was on just, what was it, 40 megabytes download per second. And, the new unlimited plan or whatever is, you know, fiber and, 70 megabytes per second. And there's higher plans I can get faster, but I just don't need them. Um, but ever since they switched it, especially in the evenings, which I guess kind of makes sense, I get this type of ping. Where it used to be at this time when I would be playing, I'd have like 30 ping, 60 maybe if it was a really, bad day. um, and now, of course, with supposedly better service, I get worse service. Now, but it's only at night, which I don't know. It's, I mean, of course, um, I work at nights, and so I'm not playing games so much at nights, and so that doesn't matter so much. But then, on the weekends, and like now it's a weekend, I try to take advantage of when I would normally be up anyways, because normally I would be working, and so I take advantage to record. And now all of a sudden I have all of this poor ping all the time when I'm connecting, so it's really frustrating um, that you just can't get consistent service out of companies, really. Um, Makes me wonder if when it's available, would it be worth just switching to Starlink, with Elon Musk? I've seen all the videos and reviews, and supposedly it seems to be doing really good. And yeah, you never really reach the top speeds of a fiber cable, but I think consistent service sometimes is more important than necessarily fast speed. Sure, fast speed is nice and it definitely lets you stream super high quality videos, things like that, if you have a high quality TV or whatever, and you're streaming that, or doing complex online tasks. But even today, I mean, Minecraft doesn't need you know high speed internet to work well on a server. You just need a consistent, stable connection. See here, we got a lag spike again. It only says 415, but look, there's a big lag spike because I'm not picking anything up. There it goes. Now I picked it all up, and it's back to 3,500. Anyways, a little off topic. Not that that matters because, I mean, after all, this is Fusion's Ramblings where we can talk about anything we want. And hey, I tend to ramble on and go in every other direction, and I'm not even sure if my topics are consistent and then I'm able to deliver some coherent thoughts. um, but back to anime to kind of finish up the discussion because I know we're probably coming up on time. Maybe not. I don't know. I forgot to set my timer again. I'm so bad at that. Um, I think cartoons have definitely changed, over the years, to meet the different demands of the audiences. And of course, the primary audience has always been kids. However, um, when you think about a good portion of the cartoons that exist out there, the majority of them are not made for kids. They are adult themed and centered around adult concepts and ideas that a lot of young children have no idea, how to relate or what is even really being discussed. They laugh at it because it's funny, they get that part of it, of course, um, but they don't understand immediately the whole story behind it. I mean, even when you look at, you know, the simple, ridiculous cartoons, whether it's Ren and Stimpy or, whatever, um, still very adult themed topics. Even Warner Brothers, when you look at Bugs Bunny and those cartoons, that those were, again, like I mentioned before, those were designed for adults. They weren't designed for kids. Cartoons just kind of morphed into, a thing that, oh, kids watch cartoons, which, yes, is absolutely true. But in the end, it's really the adults that get the full understanding and story behind it, the moral lessons that are delivered, and sometimes the immoral lessons that are delivered in those cartoons. And I mean, look at how violent they are. Even Tom and Jerry, my goodness, what kid doesn't like watching Tom and Jerry? And they're either rooting for Jerry or they're rooting for Tom. Um, Either way, but I mean, all they do is constantly beat each other up, um, literally. And I'm not sure which one gets it worse. I think Tom probably gets the worst end of the deal in that series, but it's really not kid friendly when you think about it. And yet, that's what kids relate to. So no wonder why our world is really messed up, right? Nah, it's not that messed up. But I think no matter what cartoon is being watched by you or your children, if you have children, it's just a matter of perspective and knowing that it is entertainment, it is a cartoon. It's not really meant to be something that people should model their lives off of and take seriously and all of that. Although, if you do understand and you watch, there are a lot of moral lessons that you can learn from many of those cartoons, no matter how ridiculous they may seem. Because when the writers put them together, they have a topic that they are sharing, and often it can be very emotional. It can be very, in depth as far as uh, what it will be talking about and how people can relate to it. Just like any show that's out there. Anyways, I think we're out of time today on Fusion's Ramblings, but thank you for joining me today, and we shall see you in the next video.